Hi, I'm Sunera Madani, and I'm a mom of two, a daughter of an immigrant, and an unlikely entrepreneur who went from scaling an idea to $1 billion business. Yes, $1 billion business. Along the way, I learned that less than 2% of female founders ever hit 1 million in revenue, and I became obsessed on a mission to change that. I believe that there is so much gatekeeping in business knowledge, and that we as female entrepreneurs should be learning from other female founders and leaders who have broken the statistics. Since I never went to CEO school, I've had to learn it all the hard way, but you shouldn't have to, because we believe that you deserve to have it all. And honestly, nothing bad happens when women make more money. Grab a seat because class is officially in session. Welcome to CEO School. Hi everyone, welcome to CEO School. I'm your host, Sunera Madani, and today I have such a treat for you. I am so stoked. I don't usually use the word stoked, and I said the word stoked because I really am. I'm so stoked about today's guest, Erin Lydon, who is a poker player, and she is the CEO of a company, Peak 6 Power Poker, with a mission to teach 1 million women how to play the game of poker and of life, learning how to think, strategize, negotiate, and allocate capital like a winning poker player translates to leadership skills that help women succeed from the classroom to the boardroom. And you know I love that. 100 million people play poker. Fewer than 10% are women. Power Poker is changing that, and there's so much. Erin's bio is just incredible. She is a well sought out speaker, TEDx speaker, Money 2020 speaker, AWS Women's Summit. Her background, just as a CEO, she was vice president at JP Morgan, and just does some really amazing, epic girl boss shit. Pardon my language. She's a badass, and she plays poker, and she's on the show, and she's going to teach us everything we need to know to play the game of poker and the game of life. Erin, welcome to CEO School.
Wow. Thank you, Sunera. That was a fantastic intro, and I am delighted to be here.
Oh, OMG. Like literally, I'm going to say really weird stuff on the show right now because I am so excited to have you. I met my husband actually at a poker table. That is how we met. We were playing poker. I have been playing cards kind of my entire life, but I didn't know how many skills, like now that you say that, how much it translates into business. It's so true. So true. It's a game of strategy. It's a game of money. It's a game of patience. It's all about your opponent. It's about winning, but it's also about playing the right hands. And also, of course, the most famous, holding on to your poker face so that no one can read what's actually there, and knowing when to play it and when to fold. Know when to hold them and know when to fold them. And so, Erin, talk us through at CEO School, our audience of women, what got you into building a company around empowering women to play poker?
Yeah, it's your story is extraordinary because, Sunera, I almost never meet women who know how to play the game. And to have done that while you're meeting your husband is really, really amazing. I will tell you that 95% of the women I speak to, and I talk to women all day long, have never sat at a poker table.
Really?
And I was one of those women. I did not know how to play poker prior to taking the leadership role at Poker Power. And when I was asked to do this, I really was trepidatious, I'll be honest. I'm well along in my career. I've worked in other startups. I was at JP Morgan, as you said, early in my career, just out of business school. So I've always been in male-dominated spaces, and I've really thrived in them. I've figured out how to operate in male-dominant industries. But the poker table has a force field around it, is really how we think about it at Poker Power. And it's truly a place that women do not cross. We don't believe we belong there, and we certainly are intimidated by the game. Now, fast forward all of that to being asked to join this company. Our Poker Power is owned by Peak 6, which is an equity options trading and investment and technology firm based in Chicago. And day in and day out, I'm looking out right now at the floor, the trading floor. It's full of traders, and traders like to play poker. So the game of poker was really endemic within this business. However, I didn't play. And when I was asked to take on this role, I had to learn how to play really quickly because I'll be honest, I was a little bit embarrassed that, here I am teaching other women how to play and I need to learn myself. But in retrospect, I was exactly the right person because I am the woman that we are trying to get into this game. Someone who's very ambitious, someone who's looking to accelerate their career, looking for that innovative professional development. And you can do all that by learning to play poker and practicing poker. Now, it's important that I tell you at Poker Power, we do not transact in real money. So the chips that we're playing with are not for real money. It is truly learning the strategies, learning how to negotiate, learning how to ask for more, to go all in, metaphorically at the poker table. That's how we translate it to real life. And so we have a 12-week curriculum that we work with women. We work primarily with corporate America. We are now actually teaching poker in 40 countries. And we can talk more about scaling a business during the pandemic. But it's truly been our silver lining is because of Zoom, we have been able to really scale this business and reach thousands and thousands of women.
I think this is so cool, and I didn't know that women didn't play poker enough. I mean, I grew up around, I guess, like, my dad and my brother and, my family that were I was just kind of, like, always around a card table. I don't know if that's, like, a good thing or not. But even, like, at an early age, like, my 17th birthday, I went to, what is the Jersey in New Jersey, the Atlantic City. We used to go to Vegas all the time. And so I just like we used to play blackjack at home. We played poker at home. We'd play with fake chips, right? And it was fun. It was like something to do on the weekends. And I actually, as I was telling you, I actually met Faisal, my husband, at a poker table. I was in Miami for an internship, and he happened to be um, a neighbor. So I was staying at my cousin's house, and he had a weekly poker game, and he would invite his friends to come play poker, and Faisal would come over to play poker. And my cousin Ashley, she's like she's always played poker. We grew up like playing cards, and so I would play in this poker game, and it was for real money, and it was like it was really fun. We'd like buy in. It wasn't like very like it was like a $20 buy in, and we just do a buy in, and it was just such a fun Friday night thing to do. And literally, the story goes, Faisal says that I played footsies with him under the table, but that is absolutely false. I'm gonna come on air and say that, Faisal Madani, I was not playing footsies with you. You were absolutely playing footsies with me, but that is actually how my husband and I met. And poker actually is something that really carries through in his family. My brother-in-law, Faisal's brother, Farhan Madani, you can Google him, actually won the World Poker Tour. And so he won the World Poker Tour in Miami in Hard Rock, and we were there. And so I don't know, poker's just been a part of, I would say my 20s. And I think it's so cool that you're telling me like that's maybe why I can handle men and business is because I know how to play poker. I didn't know that.
Yeah. No, the skills that you learn and practice at a poker table correlate so well to your professional life and to getting your partner, to take out the garbage. It was a very, very useful skill to be able to strategize and negotiate and problem solve like a poker table, like a winning poker player. That's important. You want to be a winning one. And so
Yes.
what we have done is we have taken a theme for each one of those skills that we teach and developed a proprietary curriculum around it. And so we have women from around the world hopping into a virtual class with us every single day. We also have built our own poker app because you will know this being a player that the poker apps that are in the marketplace are not gender neutral and they're certainly not feeling inclusive for women to play in. So we built our own teaching app, which is now in the App Store and the
It's
Google Play Store.
genius.
Yeah. So we teach on our app for our classes. And then we also have partnered with a sister company called Zogo, which is a earn and learn financial literacy app, because what we realize is that women have very limited time and we want to learn these skills. Once we buy into this idea of thinking like a poker player, you want to do it as quickly as you can. And so we actually start our women on Zogo and they go through a series of modules, which literally take just a couple minutes to go through. And you learn the jargon. As you know, the vocabulary around the game of poker is very complex and you will immediately be a fish if you don't
Yeah.
understand the words that are being used at the table. It will become very apparent. So we have you go through Zogo real quick, and then you register for the virtual classes. And then really the end of the journey is that we now have women in our community who have come to the World Series of Poker with us, and we hold their hand so they can sit at the table if they choose to do that.
I think that's so badass. This is so cool. Like, this is 100% I'm in. I wanna, like, enhance my skills, and then I think 100% we need to get this that we have a giant community of women inside of CO Schools Club. It's just a beautiful community. We do fun challenges. We have a book club. We, like, bring in amazing speakers. It's like, Matt, we need to do a poker, like, a get this group together for poker. I'm all in for stacks, all in. See, like, I'm already doing the lingo. I'm all in for stacks. This is so incredible because it really teaches you so much strategy. I've never thought about it that way. Amazing. And so you guys are an e-learning company. Talk
We
me through
are.
talk me through kind of like what are the top skill sets that why should women convince the women that are listening, I'm sold. And so but convince the
You're
women.
easy to sell on this, but most women senior are not.
Right.
And I will be honest with you, when I say the word poker, most women just immediately tune out because if you didn't learn to play as a child like you did, and you didn't learn from dad or grandma, and you didn't play in university, you've missed the opportunity to learn this
Mm,
game. And as a woman, you're never going to think about it again because it's just a place you don't belong or you don't feel welcomed. What we have found by learning to think like a poker player, and that's really what it is: think, problem solve, strategize, allocate capital, just like a poker player will do. That's going to translate directly to asking for a promotion, having the confidence to seek that raise that you know you deserve, but you haven't actually practiced negotiating and practiced asking for something. At the poker table, what I love about it is that it's a complete meritocracy. So it doesn't care what your title is, it doesn't care where you went to school, it only cares how you play those cards. And so for women, it is a game that we can compete at very equally. And so it's your mind and it's your ability to bluff, it's your ability to think probabilistically. And we teach all of that in our classes with the end goal that you will use these skills that you practice by playing with us to accelerate your career. And I like to always point out negotiation because we actually recently did a survey with a company called Her Insights, and we were looking at the skills that we already teach to really determine, are these the skills that women feel they're lacking in the workplace? And what was fascinating to me is that the skills that women said they needed the most were confidence, they needed communication, they need leadership skills. The lowest ranking in this survey was risk assessment. And
mm.
I'm like, oh, this is exactly why women need to learn to play poker. You don't realize it. But if you cannot assess risk in your business, in your career, in the strategies for your side hustle, you cannot be successful. And that is truly one of the most valuable things you will learn is poker is as you start to play the game, every round of betting is a negotiation. So you can see the next card and you will learn to assess the risk as the information changes. And you know this, that it's imperfect information. You never know what your opponents are holding. That's exactly like a negotiation. And then another card gets turned, turn the flop turns, the turn, and the river gets turned. See, the language is so funny. So as the cards come out, the words get even more complicated. As those cards start to turn, you are going to continue to negotiate, but you actually never have to use your voice. You just do it all with your gameplay and with your tells, your physical tells that you give off at the table.
It's incredible. I am literally mind blown right now, and I cannot wait to like finish recording this episode so I can call my husband and my brother-in-law and just explain like who I just spoke to because I feel like I was given a gift. I didn't know that I was given this gift. And you're right. Like I will tell you there are so many things like about a poker table or just even the concept of taking risk, right? I remember on my 17th birthday, we were at the Atlantic City, the Taj Mahal Hotel. We were actually there for like a concert, and my dad was at the casino at the blackjack table. And I've always kind of like I've looked very mature since like I like 16 and I just like looked mature. So like no one's gonna check my ID or anything like that for me to sit next to my dad at the poker table. So I sat, I used to sit like I remember very clearly, and my dad's passed away by the way. So I actually feel really grateful to share this memory with all of you. But it's my birthday, and I've like we're gonna go to this concert. I feel like I'm like dressed to the nines, and we're gonna go. My dad's sitting at the blackjack table, and I actually go sit right next to him, and he hands me for the first time like a stack of chips. Okay. And he goes to me, he goes, play. And I was like, I don't know how to play. And like, and I don't know even what the chip value is, right? I don't know if he's playing with $5 chips or if he's playing with $100 chips, right? Because they're just colored. And so, I get really nervous. Like, I'm like, no, dad, no, no, like, no, right? Like, he's like, no, play. And I'm like, how do I play? He goes, watch me. You got to get as close to 21. Okay. And this is with blackjack. And he goes, just trust your gut in what you feel. Okay. And that was it. And he handed me a stack of chips. And I think that moment, like, and this is a moment that my brother and I actually talk quite often about, of like how dad always like put us in positions to take risk. And he did. And it's not that big of a deal, but like I was 17. I never knew how to play. I was so afraid. I didn't know how much money I had. And all he said was to trust my gut and to just play. And like, he's like, you'll learn the strategy, trust your gut. And I remember just playing with him and kind of learning the game for the first time. And it wasn't about gambling, and it was just such a beautiful life lesson. And I'll carry that with me forever. But he always made it a priority to teach me how to take risk. And he's like, it's okay to lose, right? It's okay. You don't have to win. And so just play to have fun and trust your gut. And so it's like, this is like bringing me back to so many different things right now. But those are the things. And I see that in women after, coaching and mentoring hundreds, I think over like a couple thousand women now that have gone through CO school. Um, that is a huge trait that I see missing in women, is this ability to take risk.
Yes, and thank you for sharing that story, because so often the women in our community who have been exposed to the game, it's because of dad or grandpa, and they have these
Yeah.
just remarkable stories of bonding, with their father figure at the table. I will tell you that the ability to take those skills that you practice as, really a teenager, and now, into your career and into all the successes that you are having, building businesses and obviously helping many, many women, you're unique. And we want at Poker Power, we recognize that that's the secret sauce, that we need to be creating women who are confident. Absolutely. And you get that day one that you sit down at a poker table, you're going to feel confident. You're going to feel really badass, actually, by the end of our first class. But secondly, we got to help you be competent. And the confidence comes from that repetitive gameplay. Because in the beginning, when you're learning poker, it's a whole lot of information. You're uncertain how to play your cards. You're uncertain what the chip values are, all of that. That doesn't last very long. And so what we find that there's this really fascinating transition point between lesson 3 and lesson 4. You've played enough, because in each one of our 60-minute classes, you spend 30 minutes playing on the app. So you're actually having gameplay practice. So it's not a lecture, it's not boring, it's a
Like,
highly
what a
interactive
fun
class.
leadership exercise. I mean, who's
It's
not in on
exactly what
this?
it
Like,
is. Yeah, that's exactly what it is. And you're with a community of women who you probably didn't know. We have 2 tracks. We have one for individual women, and then we have our corporate tracks, where usually it's a cohort from the same business. But either way, you're networking, you're socializing, you're definitely having fun, because this poker is really fun once you get the basics down. But you're honing those skills that can be so transformative in your careers and in your personal lives. And that's what we need women doing more. We need them. There's something called outcome bias, which I'm sure you're familiar with, is I don't want you focusing on whether you won that hand or you lost that hand. That isn't what matters. What matters is the quality of the decision making. And that matters a lot at the poker table, but it matters even more when you're facing big decisions in your life. It's, have you gone through the analysis? Have you thought about the pros and cons? Have you figured out the probabilities of success or failure? And you are never going to have all the information. It's just like a poker hand. You only have your 2 hold cards, and then you have to act. And it's that have to act that we have to get women doing. Because if you practice at the poker table, going in and asking your boss for that raise that you deserve isn't so hard, because you've used your confidence, you've used your competence, and now you're ready to get what you deserve.
it's incredible. I'm absolutely obsessed. And how, like, so, you talked about building this business through the pandemic. This is a e-course business. You said only 10% of women play poker. So you have your target audience, which is super important. You have a formula that works. You've got your MVP, you've got your product. How did you actually scale this? And talk me through the scale, like the scaling of this business, because I'm sure there was resistance from, like from your audience, from your target audience.
Yeah, so I rolled onto Poker Power 3 weeks before the lockdown, so March 2020. And if you can think back to what was happening in the world in March 2020, none of us knew how to do what you and I are doing right now across
I
this industry.
know.
It was so complicated to think that you could not only conduct business, but you could develop a community and you could develop meaningful relationships across a screen. We figured that out. We were given a 3-month runway to figure out how are we going to take a game which is really rooted in a physical table with physical chips and cards and humans and translate it to a compelling experience online. Fortunately, we have an extraordinary number of brilliant female teachers at Poker Power. They all come to us word of mouth. We train them in our curriculum because it's quite a unique curriculum. The way that we teach is very bite-sized, very digestible, and very focused on inclusivity and empowerment. We want you to feel successful as you're learning, so you stay with the game. This group of women, we started building this curriculum, and you'll appreciate this. I will tell you, our lesson one used to have so much jargon and complexity in it that we were losing women left and right. It was just like, oh no, this is way too
Yeah.
much information. This isn't fun. This is really hard, and you don't want your learning experience to be hard. So we pared it down. We figured it out. We created 12 bite-sized lessons now. And what we did is with Zoom, one of our very first corporate clients was Morningstar, and it was Morningstar Chicago, which is where Poker Power is based. And they loved it. We had a group of 30 women that started with us. Absolutely loved it. Loved it so much they included us in their International Women's Day celebration. We were teaching poker at Morningstar. And they said, can you teach in China? Can you teach across Asia? Can you teach in Europe? And we said, look what we have. We have a screen. This is an online business. You bet we can teach anywhere. And that was a light bulb moment for us to say, there are new barriers to who we can reach. And so now with our 40 countries, we have a woman in Kazakhstan who plays with us on a regular basis. We have women across Western Europe. We have Brazil is a very big way. Portuguese is actually the second most popular language of women who are learning poker with us. I do not speak Portuguese, but it's very popular. And we've also been across the Asian countries as well.
I
And
think it's
wait, one more thing. It's so important.
yeah,
I
yeah.
forget. We kicked off a partnership with a nonprofit called Global Give Back Circle, and we are actually going to be teaching 5,000 high school and university girls in Kenya. So we kicked this program off 2 months ago, and they are taking the full 12-week course with us. And these are girls who are coming from very marginalized communities. Some of them have endured female genital mutilation. They didn't really have a lot of prospects. And Global Give Back puts them through an entire leadership curriculum, and Poker Power is part.
Oh, my heart. I literally was about to say that this can be life changing for many when you were talking about the different countries, especially for marginalized communities. Even just thinking about, you know, growing up in Pakistan and just like the lack of like the, women, it's really, really tough. Like we think it's really tough here in the US and we fight for like women's equality here. And like, it's so unfortunate it's already so bad here in and of itself. But when we go into third world countries, women don't have a voice. They don't have power. They're like literally are controlled by the government and by men around them. And I see it every day for my Islamic sisters in different nations as well. And it's an unfortunate truth. And I was literally in my mind before you said that, I was like, this could be so powerful to get into young girls' hands early on. Oh my God, I'm literally gonna go home and teach Mila poker this weekend. Like I am so excited for this. This is just I'm mind blown.
Scenario, the origin story of Poker Power
Tell
was
me.
not corporate America. It
Okay.
was actually young girls. And Poker Power was founded by a woman named Jenny Just. She's also the founder of Peak Six. And it was her 14-year-old daughter, who's quite a good tennis player. And her dad, the dad of the daughter, walked through the kitchen one day and said, she should learn poker. And the reason he said that the 14-year-old should learn poker was because she had played a bad match and she hadn't strategized against her opponent. She was just hitting the ball and not thinking about what that opponent was going to do in return. He was able to recognize that that was a skill set that poker players have, and it was something she was lacking when she was playing sports. And Jenny, and she's truly visionary in the businesses that she funds and builds. And she said, "Should I teach my 14-year-old daughter how to play poker?" Now you have to understand, there's 3 older sons. they all know how to play poker. Never crossed their mind that they would teach their 14-year-old daughter, which is very, very common. The woman doesn't really belong there. We don't want to put her there. They started teaching her. And in teaching her, what was really funny is that the girls, when they first started learning, they're sharing their cards, they're being very collegial. Nobody wants to, take the other girl's chips. About 3 to 4 weeks in, which is what we see, that competitive spirit kicks in because now they understand the game. And in fact, they do want to win and they don't want to share those chips anymore. And then the moms of those girls said, well, if this is so good for my 14, 15-year-old, maybe it's good for me too. And then we started teaching adult women. And then with the pandemic, we said, okay, we need a lot more adult women. Where are we going to find those? And so we went to corporate America.
Oh my God. I absolutely love it. And it makes complete sense. How can we sign up for Power Poker and get started? Poker Power. Poker Power.
So there are several ways that you can learn with us. The first one is you can get right onto pokerpower.com. And at the top, you will see that you can sign up for lessons. So you can sign up for our virtual lessons. Those kick off at the beginning of every month. So the beginning of September, we'll have a new series of lessons going. And you can go through the full 12-week curriculum if you choose to do so. From beginner, where you know nothing, all the way to advanced, where you can go play charity games. You can certainly go to a real table if you choose to do that. But more importantly, you're taking the skills into your professional life. The second way that you can learn is by installing Zogo and going to the poker that's in there. There's 14 modules, super, super quick. I used to do it when I was waiting for the pizza, at the pizza and had to pick it up. I would go through a few Zogo modules and learn the poker basics that way. And then thirdly, you can install the app from the different app stores and you can start a game.
I think it's so incredible. And now I feel like it has to be part of CO school curriculum. And so you and I will chat afterwards because I need to get every woman at a poker table. And we played poker a couple nights ago just at the house, like which with like our friends and it was like we hadn't played in a long time. And one of the hardest thing every time I play, it's like I get like dusty and I get back at it. The hardest thing for me to actually remember, it's not the strategy. It's like what wins. Like, is it a flush? Is it a royal flush? Go ahead.
We have the cutest little cheat sheet. And so we do a lot of live events. Now, many of our corporate partners now bring us on site. So we do conferences, we do corporate events, and we have a little business card cheat sheet. And it has the hand rankings, which is what you're referring to.
Yes.
Is what beats what. And then when you flip it to the other side, it has the 3 categories of hole cards to play. With just this information that's on this little teeny business card, you can sit at the table and you're going to beat many, many recreational players because
you're always going to play an ace king.
You're going to play your ace king. So you're going to play your pairs and you're going to prefer your high pairs. You're going to play your suited connectors, which are in numerical order in the same suit. And you're going to play your face cards. And 9 is not a face card. You're tempted, but 9 is not a face card. So you're folding that hand if you've got a 9 queen.
I love it. This has been so fun. We're definitely connecting offline. I also saw that you spoke at Money 2020. Are you going to be there this year? Because I'll be speaking there this year. Yes, let's connect in Vegas.
Let's definitely we have to go play poker now in Vegas.
Yes, let's do it. Let's do it. I'm so excited.
And I'll see you at the conference.
I will see you I'll see you in Vegas, ironically for that conference. But Erin, thank you so much for being here today at CO School. We'll definitely be linking everything into the show notes below. pokerpower.com. I can't wait to get started. I'm going to ask you for a code for our audience so that we can get everybody signed up, and we'll link everything below. I thoroughly enjoyed today's interview. I hope you all did too. If you did, please screenshot this episode, share it, tag it, and tag. Do you guys have social handles for Poker Power?
Yeah. And so it's join Poker Power for Instagram, for Twitter. We have LinkedIn and we have.
Amazing. So screenshot this episode and let Erin and I know that you loved it. I can't wait to see what you all have to say in my DMs and also in the reviews below. This is how we grow and bring incredible guests back to you every single week. Thank you for joining us today on today's Monday episode at CEO School. Thank you, Erin. Thank you for tuning into today's show. If you loved it, leave us a review. We are so proud to bring you authentic conversations, game changer expert guests, and valuable content on and offline. The best compliment you can give us is by screenshotting today's show and tagging us on Instagram at CEO School and at Sanira Madani. We are obsessed with swag, so don't be surprised if we want to send you some. Thanks for tuning into class today. And remember, nothing bad happens when women make more money.